and welcome to Star Wars Talk. It's October 29th, otherwise known as the day before Season 2 Mandalorian. I'm Rebecca Mosley, co-founder of LaughingPlace.com, and along with me, as always, is LaughingPlace.com's Star Wars editorial content director and Southern California correspondent, Mike Celestino. Hey, Mike.
Hey, I said last week that it was the calm before the storm, and I feel like today the wind is really whipping up with Star Wars stuff to talk about. So we've got plenty to go through today.
I know, lots of fun, and I was glad for a little. I did you feel like we got a little bit of a respite? Monday was like a deluge, and then
Yeah,
a little bit of a breather, and now it's going to be more fun. And this is the kind of fun I enjoy. Episodes where we can like see and like pause and debate, and I'm
right.
excited.
Yeah, and I was worried that we weren't going to have any non-Mandalorian Star Wars news, but yeah, they did their job, and I mean, they didn't have to put out anything this week that wasn't about the Mandalorian, but they sure did. So we've got stuff to talk about.
Yeah, yesterday you were over at downtown Disney, Anaheim, braving the weather conditions, and and you stopped by the pop-up shop, correct? That's where we found these items, Mike.
Yeah, I think it was actually Tuesday, but
Yeah, you're right.
that's okay. No, the week gets away from me as well. Yeah, and they had a bunch of new stuff, an entire new like center. I don't know what you would call it, a kiosk in the middle of the shop that was dedicated to all new merchandise. So, um, very cool looking stuff. There's some mugs, the new annual pass holder exclusive shirt with some Arabesh on there. Another shirt, Black Spire Outpost.
I've gathered the shirts kind of up together for you. They are all in the $36.99 typical price range. They have the Galaxy's Edge logos on them, and a combination of English, and then the Arabesh is on this merchandise. So
Yeah,
nice little collection of shirts now available at the downtown Disney shop, and then some of these have also
yeah.
popped up over in Walt Disney World.
I really like this one a lot. It's got all the, well, six of the seven coasters that have existed for Oga's Cantina. They didn't put the Maz Kanata one on there, which was only available for one day. So
That
these
seventh
are the.
coaster is going to haunt you, isn't it?
You know, it doesn't. It really doesn't bother me because I don't collect stuff from the sequel trilogy or the prequel trilogy. So like, it's totally fine. But I do have all the other six coasters.
And then here, let me click on the screen, and then a Black Spire Outpost hat with the logo. And then there were these pins, and I believe you actually ended up bringing a few of these home, Mike.
Yeah, so I've got my
Just
Mandalorian bag that would have been for the Oogie Boogie Bash Halloween party, I'm sure. And I was like, these are nice pins. I'm gonna get one of each without even looking at how much they cost, and I kind of regret that because the most expensive one was more than I probably would have paid if I had looked before I brought them up to the counter. You know that process, but yeah. Here's the annual pass
Mike,
holder.
the impulse shopper.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is the annual pass holder one, and the Millennium Falcon moves. Let's see.
it's a
Why
nice
can't
slider.
I?
Yeah, he kind of it's like
Oh,
he's
it's.
launching off from the
Oh yeah,
outpost.
and it says, what does it say there? Rising
It's
moons.
oh, very cool.
As you move it up and down, and then I've got the non-annual pass holder one, which is just the skyline of Black Spire Outpost. I really like this one a lot. And then you move the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge logo to the side, and it says
Great
"Bright Suns."
son.
So you've got both the daytime and the nighttime greeting.
And
And
the
then,
choice of the kind of the copper or rose gold, depending on what your description is
yeah,
I really enjoyed that because it kind of has that desert feel. You know, the golden sands reflecting kind of.
right,
Nice choice, other than the silver we're so used to with a pinback.
absolutely. And if I had to get one out of these four, this would have been the one. It's the four of the seven total coasters from. Actually, I think this one is. Oh, sorry, this one here is not a coaster at Oga's, or it's the back of all the coasters maybe. But these
Oh,
three
okay.
are specific coasters, and maybe now that I realize it, now I wonder if there's the other half of the coasters are maybe available in different pins. If so, I'll have to spend more money on pins next time I go down there. Um, yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool set. And
Yeah.
then lastly, this is the one that when I found out how much I paid for it, it was like, oh, this is a little overpriced. But it is very cool, and it is the Dejarik table, or AKA hollow chest from the Millennium Falcon. Yeah,
And
there you
there's
go.
another picture of it that Mike took. It's a limited
Yeah.
release. Do the and the some of the pins,
Yeah, so
some of the
you
pins.
can
Oh, Mike
move
can demonstrate. Some of the
move
pins even
these
fly.
guys back and forth on there. I think only two of them move. Two out of
Nice.
the six characters on there move. And this one was $60, which is that's
So
a lot.
large.
It's a large pin, but that's a lot for a pin for me. That's the most I've ever spent on a single pin, I think. So that might be the most expensive pin I ever buy. We'll see.
The only pins I have in that price range, I will say, arrived via birthday from other people who knew I liked certain characters
Yeah,
or whatnot. I've never really been much of a pin person myself, which is funny because somehow yet I managed to have a pin board very similar to yours
yeah,
available, even though I don't think of myself as a pin person.
yeah. I mean, this pin board I put together a few years ago, and it at that point it held most of the ones that I had, and since then I've just accumulated a bunch more. So I need another one, but I don't have any wall space for it. So and then thankfully I did have, I have the signature annual pass, so that gets me a nice discount on the merch.
Right.
Uh,
And during your adventure, you also saw some of the figures that had been previously at Target, right? Have now
yeah,
made their way.
right. These were released for the Target Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Trading Outpost, and now they're available at the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Trading Post at Downtown Disney, where Wonderground Gallery was previously. And you've got the Captain Cardinal and then the First Order Mountain Trooper were the two figures that I saw yesterday or on Tuesday.
And then there was also this Boba Fett. I'm guessing. I could be wrong. I'm not as up on helmets as you are, but it looked like Boba Fett to
Yeah,
me.
it is Boba Fett. It's the new 40th anniversary Empire Strikes Back Star Wars the Black Series from Hasbro helmet. I saw that at World of Disney for
And is that,
119 bucks.
and that's more of a kind of a high level toy. I mean, it's right, or is it a collectible? My assumption is the price is based upon its being electronic, and so having sounds and whatnot. It isn't meant to be a high end collectible. It's more of kind of a mid range toy.
Yeah, I think you're right. There are probably better, closer, like screen accurate helmets available that are much more expensive that you would wear if you were in like the 501st Legion or something. But this is like the best that Hasbro is going to make as a toy. You're right.
And also at the parks, they've made some adjustments. If you're going to Walt Disney World, and Rise of the Resistance is on your list of to do, um, the previously you needed to be in park to make a reservation for Rise of Resistance. They do a virtual queue system, so you'd hit the button and you'd get a callback time, or you'd be told the line was full, and that would happen twice daily, and you would need to be in the park. But now it's going to be through the app with a valid park ticket and, of course, a park reservation. And it can start at 7 a.m. And they say from their Walt Disney World Resort or, quote, wherever else nearby you might be at the time. So what nearby at the time means, we'll find out. And that's how they're handling that first wave. And then the 2 p.m. queue, it'll be the secondary window, and that will be for in-park guests. So just a different way to handle the virtual queue, and all the details on that are at laughingplace.com. And if anything changes, hey, we'll let you know. The
Yeah,
other
I have to wonder if they're going to implement a similar process when Disneyland eventually reopens here,
Yeah,
if they'll let you get the boarding pass while you're in downtown Disney or something, instead of
yeah.
having to be in Disneyland proper.
I would imagine if it proves to be successful, that would be, you would see it transfer. And then the other change that's happened is they've actually added those clear barriers that we've seen on attractions like Dinosaur, and which is an attraction in Disney's Animal Kingdom in Florida. And so that will allow for them to seat more than one party in a vehicle. So that will also increase the capacity numbers for this really popular attraction. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what that does for accessibility to to the attraction. Oh, and I'm getting a note from our team that we're hearing that if it seems to be that you can get the boarding. We hear you can be anywhere for boarding pass, just close enough to be able to get on when called. So that's kind of what the nearby. So we'll. I'm sure that our team will be giving it a try when it launches, and we'll let you know what our experience was. So that way, when you get there, you will about we'll be your guinea pigs. Also, recently, in connection with Galaxy's Edge, they're going to be bringing some of the storytelling to this VR experience that's coming. And Mike C talked a bit about the trailer earlier. Was it earlier today that this launched, this trailer?
Um, I don't know when the trailer came out, but I feel like every week they've been putting out more information about this. And today today they put out the trailer for the little mini story. The I forget what it's called. Something about a temple, a dark temple.
Yeah. It's I'll pull it up right here. It's Tales from the Galaxy's Edge Experience. They're calling it Temple of Darkness. It's going to be a VR story set hundreds of years before the events of Phantom Menace, and it's going to be part of this Oculus Quest game called Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge that's coming in November.
So last week we found out that Frank Oz was coming back to voice Yoda in Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, and then today we see in the trailer they show Yoda as part of this darkness. What is it? Darkness cave, Temple of Darkness. And so I think the way that Tales from the Galaxy's Edge works is you're talking to this bartender called Cecil Slack. There he is, voiced by Bobby Moynihan. And he's just telling you these stories, and then you experience each tale.
They talk about a temple that is it's something that you hear this voice saying something's wrong with this place, and I guess you're following the adventures of a young Padawan, and a relic releases kind of this evilness inside the temple, and this Padawan is the sole survivor. And so now, along with here's an image of like a lightsaber with bones, so really creepy and dark. There's these hobgoblin type creatures that we see scurrying about. But as I guess you see this ancient tablet, and then a piece of it breaks off, and then after this occurs, now we see that the temple becomes this covered in these red, dark, villainous lines, and we see death represented, and you hear Yoda say, "Only death here now, follow you it does." So it seems that you're going to be aiding the Jedi Master to find out what this darkness that is existing within this Jedi temple. Fun. I'm excited. I am excited by the notion that we're going to just learn more about Batuu. Batuu is going to be more deeply explained and felt, and become more have more story behind it than just kind of a place setting. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And the great thing is it comes out in just a few weeks. It's like November 19th, so we're not far from there.
So we'll have dueling discussions appearing now. We're going to have our Mandalorian theories, and then we're also going to have our exploration of the characters that we encounter and learn more about during our Oculus journey. So I'm excited and a bit jealous, and I've been trying to find out. I think I have a friend in the area who I'm like trying to book, reserve my time. Can I come over and check out this Oculus Quest? Because that just sounds like a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to your review of it.
I will certainly be doing that.
Along with that StarWars.com has shared some information about the High Republic, Mike.
Yeah, this is another thing that they just keep releasing more info about the High Republic each week, and this week they're doing the villains. So we got to see basically the concept art or the depictions of what the villains will look like. This is like some crazy monster. They said that this thing had already appeared in. So there was the book called Star Wars Dark Legends that I reviewed on Laughing Place, but there's a Target exclusive edition of that book that has extra stories that I don't have. And they said this monster has already appeared in that story. So I haven't read that story, but he's also going to be in the High Republic. And then they showed some images of the Nihil, which is the name of the main. I think we've seen this before. Either I've seen this before because I went to the announcement event and they maybe only showed it there, or I think it was maybe in the video that they released, because I know I saw this image previously. But
yeah,
this is the
I agree
Nile.
with you that these images are familiar, but I think that this is a better, like a deeper look at them. Like I feel like perhaps before it may have been like a pencil, totally going off memory. But I feel like perhaps before it wasn't like a kind of as fully colored and dimensional. The one that I can recall. Dude, these
Could be,
seem
but
just like really vicious entities to have to deal with. I mean, they just
yeah. And you
yeah,
were saying they reminded you of the villains from the expanded universe, right?
yeah. There was this villainous group in it was a novel called Vector Prime, and I told you I didn't even make it through because they were kind of a little too dark for me. But there was a lot of organic element to their species, and I see a lot of that similarity in some of the villains that have been shared with this High Republic. That there's kind of this almost like, I think of it like vine or weed element to their villainous nature. So it'll be interesting to see how just how dark these villains are. Are we going to have more of a kind of a torturous villainy than we've explored? I feel like Star Wars kind of was like just on, like, the evil was up here, not quite in the darkest reaches of humanity's soul kind of thing. I'll be
Right.
interested to see how dark they go with these. So
I like this guy. I want an action figure of this guy. That's a cool looking character. Marchion Rowe, I think.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like they need to have pronunciation guides alongside their characters,
Yeah, right.
right?
I know, because I always say them wrong, and then I hear people from Lucasfilm say it, and I'm like, oh, that's not how I was pronouncing it at all.
But sometimes it's counterintuitive for me. Not always,
Right.
but at times. Let's see, what else did you share with us this week, Mike?
Oh, this was the big announcement this morning, and we knew this was coming because there's been like a Thrawn book every year for the past however many years, and we were in the middle of this trilogy, so of course the next one was due out in 2021. We just didn't know the date and we didn't know the title. And this morning we got the title announcement: Star Wars Thrawn Ascendancy. Greater Good is the title, and then they also put out that cover that the red cover up there. This is an image from a previous book, but
Here, I'll pull that red cover
yeah,
back
this is
up.
the new cover that came out today, and I'm just super excited. I love all these books that Timothy Zahn is a great writer, and in this announcement, they talked about how this new book is coming out in celebration of the 30th anniversary of Thrawn's first appearance in Star Wars Heir to the Empire, which is getting some sun on it there. But this is the book that got me into Star Wars, like as a huge fan when I was probably like 12 years old, 11 or 12 years old. Loved these books back in the early 90s. And yeah, he's still writing Thrawn books for Lucasfilm Publishing, and it's super exciting to get a new one every year. and I'm looking
I
forward to that.
owned those as well, Mike. I don't recall them. I was thinking the other day of pulling
Yeah,
them, kind of checking them out again. Out of Print
yeah,
is celebrating this as well. The
yeah. So
Out of
that's
Print.
the same cover I just showed you from Heir to the Empire in a T-shirt form, and then on the back is the opening scroll from the book, which is kind of fun. I don't know if it's there, but
It is. It's just my
oh yeah,
computer
there it
started
is.
moving slowly.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then yeah, I think it's just cool that we're at the third. We're coming up on the 30th anniversary of that book and the really the birth of the expanded universe as it existed in the 90s before before the prequels, before Disney and stuff. So it's cool that they're celebrating it in that way.
it's hard for me to believe that those books came out 30 years ago. I have to admit. So, and then this week you've been doing quite a bit of reading. You also shared with us the Star Wars book.
Yeah, this is written by Pablo Hidalgo from the Lucasfilm Story Group. You've got Dan Zayer, who's the Coffee with Kenobi podcaster, and then Cole Horton, who I've interviewed myself, and he wrote the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Traveler's Guide to Batuu, and they collaborated on this. And it's basically just a big, yeah, it's right there. This is basically just a big, like, Star Wars encyclopedia. Like, if you go to Wikipedia, this is like that in printed and hardbound book form with a lot of nice images. Basically, it's just a compendium of all the information you would need to be up to speed at this point on Star Wars. They've got all the character biographies. They've got the history of the Galactic Republic and the Galactic Empire, all the politics and the star systems and the planets. It's all in here. Yeah. So there's the page on Lando Calrissian, but they've got one of those for every like important character, and then all the other information that you'd need to know. I made the mistake when I got this. I made the mistake of just trying to read it all the way through, but that is not how this book is intended to be read. You need to treat this like a source, like a resource. Like, oh, I want to know more about, I don't know, name a character, Rebecca. What's that?
I pulled up the Galactic Civil War, and I see that it
Right.
has smaller articles on the Battle of Yavin and the
Right.
participants, and it just kind of gave me a brief synopsis of it.
Yeah, so I just randomly flipped to General Grievous. Okay, so if you want to know more about General Grievous, this has his whole story like broken down into the basic beats and then more information about him. And the great thing about it is it covers everything from the movies, the novels, the comics, and the video games and everything. It's all treated as canon within this. It's not just the movies. So I really like that everything's kind of treated equally as far as like what happened goes. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, on the back cover it says, uh, "How does Emperor Palpatine survive the Battle of Endor? What powers are unique to a Force dyad? Discover the answer to these questions and many more."
Yeah,
So
when I read that back cover before I read the book, I thought that it was gonna be presented in that format. Like, here's an unanswered question and here's the answer, but that's not how it is. It's just like, okay, if you wanted to know how the Emperor survived the Battle of Endor, you want to go to the Emperor Palpatine page, and then it just lists his whole history, everything that happened to the character that's notable, and then you'll get to what happened at the Battle of Endor, how he set about making clones of himself, and how his consciousness got transferred to those one of those clones after the battle, and takes it from there. So it's presented in a very like linear fashion by character or by like faction or whatever, because they also cover like the smugglers and the bounty hunters and stuff like that.
we have a few greetings. Hi, Lori Jean. Hi, Keely. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
Oh, I was going to ask you, I had a question that popped down my head. Oh, was there any particular tidbits that as you were kind of browsing through, caught your attention, sparked your, Star Wars curiosity? I know one because you texted it to me, but I'm not sure if you want to talk about it on the podcast on here. So
Oh yeah, well I'll talk about this theory. Yeah, this is a good place to talk about this theory because we're on. It's like Mandalorian Eve, right?
Oh,
Um, so,
yeah.
and this book's out now. It's a book. It's been out for like a week and a half. So people who have wanted to pick it up are picking it up. There's an entry on the Force Dyad, or I think it's actually under either Rey or Kylo Ren entry in this book, and they talk about the Force Dyad formed between those two characters. And they talk about powers that are unique to Force users who are in a Force Dyad. One of those being a healing power. As we see in The Rise of Skywalker, Rey heals Kylo Ren after she kills him, basically. He comes back to life and he turns to the good side, and then he heals her at the end of the movie when she dies. And it talks about how, they're like giving up part of their own Force essence or whatever to save them. And it immediately made me think of the other character that we've seen using a Force healing power recently, and that is the child, Baby Yoda in The Mandalorian. And I don't know. Even on the back here, if you go bring up that back image again,
Let me see
because
if I
this
can.
is what even like added to my little pet theory here. And I don't know if this is anything, but yeah, there's just like a phrase here that even added to what I was thinking in regards to that. If you can't bring it up, I can just put it here on the camera.
I got it right here. Oh, you can
Okay.
read it off the back though, yeah?
Yeah.
As I scroll down to it, I'm almost there, almost there.
Okay.
Is this the one you're talking about right here?
Yeah, so, okay, you can see there in that second paragraph, the second question is what powers are unique to a Force Dyad? Okay, so that's exactly what I was referring to, and that information is in the book. And this book is written by people who are in the know. It's written, Pablo Hidalgo is a member of the story group. He's not putting things in here by accident. It's not like he doesn't know what's coming, I'm sure he's read the scripts for The Mandalorian. He's seen the episodes. This is my little pet theory that now I think that the child is one half of a Force Dyad, and we may find out who the other half is in this season. I don't know who that could be. I don't know if it's another member of that same species, or if it's another different species but another Force user. Could be anything, but I'm saying it right now. I'm putting it down on video. This is my prediction for The Mandalorian season 2.
And then I'm going to get you off camera to share who you think, because I know you don't want to put it out there because you don't want to spoil, even though you don't actually know the answer. But I understand sometimes as fans, we don't want to even speculate because we don't want to color somebody else's journey. But
Right.
but I've got to know if you're, I don't want you to be able to like cheat and be like, oh yeah, that's what I thought, So I'm curious to know who you speculate could be the other side of the.
I don't even know if I have a good answer for that. I think if I had to predict, I would say another member of that species that we haven't met yet. So we might, by the end of this season, we might have 2 Baby Yodas.
That'd be fun. That would be fun. And Juby wants to know if it gives a definitive answer on the who shot first debate.
That is a great question, and I think it's a good time to consult the index here. So there is like a very handy. Look at this. It's like an encyclopedia, a whole index
wonderful.
in the back. So I'm going to Greedo. I'm going to go to page 196, and we'll see what this says. Okay.
Answer your question.
All right. Here's what it says in the entry for Greedo. Greedo the Rhodian tries to corner wanted smuggler Han Solo in the Mos Eisley Cantina and collect the bounty on his head, but fails to disarm Solo, who blasts him under the table.
Ooh.
That's the definitive word.
There you go. There you go.
I think they danced around the answer to that question
very nicely. Oh, you got to also review this week a beautiful book.
This was actually I had a more visceral reaction to this book because it was a much faster read. I sat down and I was through this in an hour and a half. My first reaction was like, oh, this is a great
Sorry.
gift. This would be a great gift to somebody for
There we go.
the holidays, Christmas, or whatever. If they're a fan of Star Wars, obviously, or if they're a fan of the Jedi specifically and the concept of lightsabers specifically, because it just goes through basically every. Well, this is the beginning with some concept art and stuff, but then as you get inside, it's just going to go through like every character's lightsaber, and there's a nice clear image of each one, and then there's a nice description of the character, and they're talking about the behind the scenes creation of each lightsaber, and also like how the lightsaber relates to the character. And that's it. It's very simple, very straightforward. Some of them have like fold out images if it's like a more significant character or a more like unique
Oh
lightsaber.
wow.
This is the classic Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker, then Luke
Yeah.
Skywalker, then Rey lightsaber,
Wow.
and it's got nice art. The images are really cool.
Yeah, really beautiful.
So I really recommend that. I think any Star Wars fan is gonna like that as a Christmas gift.
Oh yeah. No, I was excited that they have a fan favorite. Well, no, my favorite Leia.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's up to date, just like that Star Wars book that we just talked about. It's up to date through the end of last year, or even a little bit beyond that, because I think they may have one in there from the High Republic. I don't remember, but I know they talk about the High Republic in the Star Wars book, which is why I'm getting confused. I read them both like back to back, but they definitely have
Sorry.
Rey's yellow lightsaber from the end of Rise of Skywalker, the one she makes out of her like staff. So it's up to the end of Rise of Skywalker and up through the end of The Mandalorian, because they talk about the dark saber as well. Season 1, I mean.
I was scrolling through your article real quick to see if I caught the words High Republic on it, but I think you're right that was a different
Yeah.
book that you checked out. And this book is currently available on Amazon, and it's $26.99 is the price range that you're looking at. So even though it is one of those larger coffee table style books, it still is in a affordable uh, price range. So often I find the table books table size, then they start to get into like a little bit more of an investment for me. But I can see myself purchasing this one. Let's see, Mike. You also had on your list. You shared
Yeah.
with us Dr. Aphra.
There it is from Marvel Comics. This is the new one this week. Every week we've got a new Marvel comic, a new Star Wars comic from Marvel, basically. And this week's is Dr. Aphra number 5. This is the second volume of Dr. Aphra. The other one went to like 40 issues or something. Then they restarted the numbering because now we're in between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. We're finding out what Dr. Aphra was up during that time period. And this issue is the final chapter in the first arc of this comic. So it kind of wraps up that first storyline, and then it actually kind of teases what's going to be happening next. And I don't know. I don't want to ruin too much, but they're after these rings of Vale. It's a very like archaeological adventure in the vein of Indiana Jones. These are the artifacts they're going after. They're called the Rings of Vale, and they're rumored to hold like untold power. And there's this like wealthy aristocrat, Ronan Taggy is his name, and he's related to some other characters in the Star Wars canon with the last name Taggy. And his whole deal is he wants to be the last person to hold an artifact before it gets destroyed. So he does it. He holds it and then he destroys it. And obviously the archaeologists are not happy about that and they want to stop him. But Dr. Aphra herself is also kind of riding the line between good and evil. She's like a rogue character as well. So it's very fun. It's often funny as well, and it's a good adventure.
It has humor. It has humor, kind of like Indiana Jones serial. Is that kind of the type of humor that I could
Yes.
expect if I pick it up?
Yeah, I mean, this character is very obviously, and like no one has denied that she's heavily inspired by Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
But I would say she's actually even kind of more like a Belloc, like a villain character from
Okay.
Indiana. Like she rides the line between hero and villain sometimes, so she's not pure good. I'll say
Right.
that much.
I think the villain is a fascinating concept, that there's this individual who wants to find something and hold it and then destroy it. It's just a really
Yeah,
bizarre. It's like usually you have individuals like the in Guardians of the Galaxy, right? It's the collector, that was that his name?
hmm
The one that's featured in Mission Breakout.
yes,
It's like you want it because you want it for you. You don't want anybody else to have it. You don't want to share
right.
it. You don't want to put it in a museum. You want your eyes to be the only one. This guy wants it so that he could obliterate it. And
Yeah,
haha,
it's a unique idea that I hadn't seen before, so
so shitty.
makes
I
for an
like it.
interesting villain. That's for sure.
And finally, as we start to wrap up, as you pointed out, no more sleeps till Mando.
Yeah. I don't know about you, and I don't know about anyone watching, but I'm gonna be staying up late tonight. I think we found out confirmation just before we started the stream, thanks to our friend and co-contributor to Laughing Place, Cole Garyak. He found out that Disney Plus has officially said that this episode is going up at midnight Pacific
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, don't get
We
confused. This is a tweet from Disney UK, and that would translate
right.
to midnight
Right.
Pacific.
Yeah, but I mean that holds with the pattern of last season and other stuff that has gone up on Disney Plus. But we weren't sure because I don't know if you have the image, but there was also the announcement today of a virtual red carpet premiere for The Mandalorian
I
tomorrow
have it
at
from Star Wars. Yeah.
6 p.m. Pacific. I guess they're going to be having probably the cast and the creative team behind the show talking about season 2. So I think that'll be fun to tune in. And
Yes, they say to join us as we celebrate the launch. The co-host of the Star Wars show will welcome the Mandalorian showrunner, writer, director, executive producer Jon Favreau. You're going to have the director, writer, executive producer Dave Filoni. You're going to have the composer Ludwig Göransson, right? I think I got that right. And then it also says Mandalorian stars, and I'm unsure who we are expecting to see in this virtual red carpet celebration premiere, but I know that we will be watching tomorrow evening. But it will have been after we have what? How many? Okay, let over under, Mike. How many times will you have seen the episode? It's going to drop at midnight.
Yeah.
I know we're going to do it like an enjoyable watch and then a review watch. What do you think? But by 6 p.m. when this red carpet, how many times do you think you will have checked out that episode?
Well, okay, I'll be up till like 2 something a.m. tonight, and then I've got a big project tomorrow that's not Mandalorian related. So I think that the answer is probably like 1.5, but I will before the weekend is over or before the next episode airs. I'll rewatch the new one for sure.
I'm hoping I'm hoping to stay up late enough to watch it when it drops. Although I'm not sure. My husband is not a late night person, so I don't know if he's going to ask me to wait or not, or if I'm gonna have to try and wake up early to watch it with him before he goes to work.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I am super pumped.
It's one of those rare occasions where the Pacific time zone has the advantage because I'm used to. Well, since I moved to LA 20 plus years ago, I'm used to the East Coast getting things first as far as like, there we go. So the East Coast would always have the TV show on at, their time first, when I was watching the X-Files or whatever. And then I would have to wait 3 hours and avoid spoilers and everything and watch it on my time. And then now the East Coasters are going to be asleep and I'll be up at midnight. It's not unreasonably late, although it is past my bedtime these days. And I'll still get to see it before the East Coast does, so that's fun.
Do you expect season 2 to live up to season 1? Oh, that's hard.
I think so. I think I do. I think I trust the guys who are making it and gals who are making it because they're so talented and they've proven themselves. And I think, like they've said about this upcoming season, it's gonna start broadening its scope to incorporate more of the wider Star Wars galaxy, which I'm really excited about.
I'm I'm interested to see if they're able to pull off surprises like they did in the first go around. I don't necessarily want to be peppered with them because I think part of what made that one cool was it was kind of like it happened and then you kind of progress from there and then they hit us with another one at the end. I kind of feel as they kind of bookend the season that way. And then the story itself, the characters that we had kind of propelled. They didn't lean on those as like gimmicks to keep you interested. The story itself was compelling, and
Right.
I'm I'm intrigued to see how this father son protector relation how it manifests itself moving forward. So it'll
Yeah, you have
be
to think back to that first episode when it aired on the launch day of Disney Plus in November of last year, and how much that ending, the introduction of the child, Baby Yoda, changed our. I mean, it changed Star Wars. It changed the conversation around Star Wars, and it became just this whole pop culture phenomenon outside of Star Wars. So, is there anything that's going to equal that this season or even in this first episode? I don't know, and it might be difficult to top it in that way. But as far as like quality goes, I don't think that there's going to be an issue.
yeah, that opening episode, the final moment of that opening episode of season 1 like was a total shock for me as far as what I was expecting the series to even be, because all the marketing and everything leading up to it had been so heavily space western
Mm-hmm.
and kind of and gritty, and I envisioned this guy being kind of this lone, I don't know, brusque, isolated, you know, hard shell individual, and instead you end up with this figure who doesn't seem to gain anything by protecting the asset. So there's a kind of a heart that not, like I say, that aspect of the was not what I was expecting. If you were to tell me that the Mandalorian would be kind of that heart driven lead character, that would not have been my expectation leading up to that first episode. So
Yeah, I
um,
agree.
I'm so
And
excited.
I know this, and this, like I said last week, this is our Star Wars movie this year. You know, The Mandalorian season 2, and I have no problem with that because I can't go to a movie theater, and I love the show. So,
Yep. Yep. Lots of virtual parties going on. I suspect some people will take advantage of the watch along features that are now available. Chat rooms will be more, Reddit will be blowing up, Twitter will be blowing up. So it'll be a fun weekend of speculation and enjoyment and fanfic and all of it. And I can't wait for that switch to finally turn on, and the fun begins tonight when, because now in this world of streaming devices, some people will get it a little bit sooner than others. Some you hit refresh, you back out of the app, you go into the app, you back out of the app, you go into. So it'll be fun to follow some of that drama too on Twitter, as we all get it at varying times, within about a 15-minute window, depending on our luck. So
right.
I guess that's it for this week of sports, nope, of Star Wars talk. Oh,
It's about
wow.
the opposite of sports.
I know, but they did sneak it in again this week, the kickoff. If you haven't seen it, even if you're not a sports fan, the Monday Night Football Mandalorian thing that they did with I think it was Giancarlo
Yeah.
Esposito doing like a voiceover. Oh, so fun. I'm a fan of football, so I enjoyed it on that level. But I think even if you're not a fan of football, just some of the clips and the dialogue is really cool. So check it out. It's on YouTube. But for now, this is actually Star Wars talk, and we very excited to share with you next week Mandalorian and all the other Star Wars news that's happening. Thanks again for joining me, Mike, and for all you do keeping us up to date on Star Wars here at laughingplace.com. So see y'all real soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
May the Force be with you.